Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Spindle TV Exclusive. Hey, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kind of work on a fall-themed project. I've got a special package for you all that I'm going to talk about and share with you and send out and stuff, some Thanksgiving stuff and everything. But tonight, I want to step back to an older project that I did, which was a plate rack for a wall mount plate rack for hanging decorative plates and everything. And I am going to, I've got an area right above my kitchen sink that's just wide open, and it's just nothing's happening there, and I want something to happen. I want to do some 3D modeling, working with existing 3D models. So if you have Desktop and Pro, you can do everything that we're going to do tonight. But I want to take kind of an existing design that I have and use some of the elements of it, but then design something different. So we're going to be for the first part of tonight, we're going to be in SketchUp, and we're going to be laying out a design in SketchUp, and then from there, we're going to transition that stuff over to Vectric for the toolpathing and everything. So with that being said, that's kind of what we're doing tonight. And I've got joining me live tonight on camera is Ronnie and JR. Both gentlemen, that's what made me 2 minutes late. I was sitting there chit-chatting with them in the background. But how are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, doing great.
Yep, doing good.
Good. Yeah, big shout out to Brooks Martin. Thanks for the super chat right out of the gate, Brooks. Man, that $10 that'll definitely help me out. And thank you. That's more than a cup of coffee, and I'll appreciate that. Take it. So thanks for that, Brooks. And good to see Roger and Ron online with us. David is with us as well. Ron Bishop's with us. Let's see here. What do we got? Keith is with us. Hey, Keith, what's happening, buddy? All the way down in Central Florida, Citra, Florida, just right up the road from me. Keith is a neighbor. We run into each other every once in a while at Lowe's. But we are going to. I don't have an actual design. I've got the design that I worked with on the dish rack. We'll see that, and you'll see kind of the layout, what it is. But as far as the SketchUp design, we're starting from scratch. And so it should be fun to kind of go through and lay it out. I'll be pretty quick about it. We won't drag it out too long tonight. That being said, let's go ahead and switch over. Let's see. For me, that's going to be, let me do it here. I need to swing on over to, I think that is camera 2. There we go. Wonderful. And let's fill that up with camera 4. There we go. And let's move that chair down in the bottom left corner. That black square will go away in just a moment. All right, everybody, let's see. What do we got here? All right, see you in just a second.
Oh, you in a new position in your shop?
Oh yeah,
yeah, go ahead. I'm in a new or a different layout at my studio and everything. So I'm going to be. I've got a little work area and stuff. I got my standing room. I've got my work room, and then I also have a work table where I do close-ups and stuff. The camera in the shop, I've only got 3 cameras set up now. I did get camera 3 set up, but the 4th camera is going to be out in the shop. I haven't gotten that one set up yet, but so no, just a different place. Just laid out the studio a little differently. All right, let's see here. So what you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, is the side panel and a couple of the shelves of the plate rack. Now I'm going to go to online, and I want you to kind of get this. This is not what we're making by any means, but I happened to be browsing the web and I saw this image and I thought, oh, you know what? I have this big empty space right behind the sink and I want to do something fall themed. And I've got a nice dish rack. I bet you if I altered that, I could come up with something really cool where there's a 3D model carved and all that. And this is the image that I was kind of working with or looking at that was kind of that gave me the inspiration to come up with what I wanted to do. And with the multitude of dish racks, right? You know, all kinds of dish racks and things that one could find online. I thought, you know, what am I doing? I've already got a dish rack that's really nice. And it took, it was 4 sheets to make it up. But the grooves and everything they're 3/8 of an inch wide, and center to center they're 0.6 inches apart, and it was perfect for the plates and stuff. But this rack, coming back over, let me jump up here. This rack had a overall height of 26 inches, and the area that I'm filling is 35 inches tall. It is around 39 and 9/16, if you want to be exact, inches wide, 12 inches deep. But there's a sink there. So from the right side, there's a sink. The what do you call it? The spigot, the head of the faucet head. It is about 14 and 3/4 inches over from the right side of the area that I want to fill in. And so I want to redesign everything. So what we're going to do is we are going to jump into SketchUp, and we are going to, I'm using SketchUp 8, old school. SketchUp, free version, and jayscustomcreations.com. If you ever want to, he still has a link to download the custom version or the version 8 of this.
Hey, Laney,
Yes.
just a point of reference. You may want to enlarge your screen, hide JR and
Are we all still
our mugs.
Are we all still there? Hey guys, what's happening? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I'm goofy me. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
There you go.
Much better.
So, all right, we got you there. You're all still present and everything. All right, cool. So, and speaking of that, let me take this window and minimize that. Let me maximize this so that I can get y'all's comments and questions up here on the screen. Let's go to the studio. We're going to go live, and there we go. All right. So let me switch my window styles. We're going to go engineering style, and let's get rid of the axes. I don't want them either. View the axes. We'll get those turned off. All right. There we go. So awesome. And again, no real plan, but what I want to do first of all, I'm going to kind of just lay out the area in a really rough layout. So let's imagine that we are looking at the wall area, and on this, let me get my camera. Let's go face front. There we go. And let's pretend we have a wall area. I'm going to make it like full size here. So it's, we're going to go, let's go 35.5 1/2 inches by, let's go 40 inches. And let's use the move tool. Just going to bring that out. Now we'll push pull this just to kind of bring that out just a little bit. When we'll triple click it and make it a group. And what we have now, if I orbit this to the side, is we just kind of have basically a wall, right? That's all it is. Let's go camera standard front view again. Now, I have an area that I'm going to be filling in that is going to be 39 9/16 by 35.5. So let's go 39.5625, comma 35.5, enter. And I'm just going to kind of build a box here. Let's do it this way so I know I land right on that mark. Build a box there. Build a box here. Now I'm going to push pull these 3 areas out. I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to pull it out quite a ways. So 12 inches. I'm going to pull this out 12 inches. I'm going to pull this out 12 inches. And then of that, let's triple click all of this and G for group. All right. Now, just for kicks and giggles, let's go into here. Push, pull this up. And I'm just going to make the like sink area kind of a rectangle, and I'm going to use a guideline. So basically from this wall, and let me turn this a little bit tilted just so you can see what it is. So pretend that this is my opening. I've got a cabinet here. I got an overhead cabinet, which you know, it's only the bottom part you're seeing, and then a cabinet on the right side. So I have this opening, and this little shelf right here is, let's call it the sink area, right? So that's what we're looking at, but we happen to be just looking at it from a front-on view. Now, 14 inches over, if I take my tape measure tool, and from in here, if I go 14 3/4, 14.75, right there, and I'm just going to draw a little rectangle here. Actually, rectangle, I'll do that last. Up here from the bottom down, oops, let's go back here. Oops, come on. Oh, I need my tape measure. Oh, there you go. We're going to go 23 inches down. All right, right there, that spot. So I'm going to draw a little rectangle. Kind of goes like this. And I'll push pull that out. We're going to, this funky little spot right here is going to represent my sink spout, right? Now it turns and, you know, it rotates left and right and all that, but this is the sink spot. It's 23 inches down and 14 3/4 inches over. So I basically have all of this area that I can play with the shelf and everything. And I'm not going all the way down. I don't want it sitting on the counter. I want this to be a wall hanging shelf. So I'm 23 inches down here, and my original shelf rack, this original shelf rack, like I said, was, you know, 26 1/8 inches in height overall, right? And that's fine. I could even go higher. which I plan on doing. What I'd like to do is because I'm off the wall, there's space behind here. I can't have a rack or anything come out, but I can have a 3D carving, like a backboard, 3D carving. So I'm going to have this lower half here be all a carving. And I'm going to have it kind of fall theme. There's going to be some trees. There's going to be a turkeys and, something. We'll figure that out. And then there's going to be kind of a plate rack or a dish rack area. So that's where we're at right now. And now, again, if I come in and let me hide this for a second. Let's hide that just for a moment. And I go into here and I pull this back kind of off the wall. Let's pretend that that's that. And then I go in and view or edit, unhide all, right? I have kind of, let's pretend that's the faucet. So I have all this area back here that I can, and there's more room than that. The faucet isn't that close to the wall, but I have all that room that, there could be a 3D carving. I just can't have any shelves come out because my shelves on the side are going to be 12 inches wide. I want them to be flush with the front of the cabinets. The front of the cabinets are 12 inches from the wall. And then of course the doors stick out, 3/4 inches more, but I want this plate rack to be on the sides, and the shelves, because the plates themselves are 10 inches. So the racks, these right here, the back racks and the front racks and everything, they are, if I were to measure, this is, wait for it. Let's close this, make this live and active. These rack areas are a height of 12 by 9.9 and 11/16, basically 9 and 11/16 by 12 and 3/8 here. And then these racks are 12 inches wide by 9 and same thing, 9 and 11/16. So that 12-inch wide, that's the bottom shelf, so, and the plates, come out to there. So this won't make any sense until we actually build one in SketchUp and put it all together. But just know that there is, for the racks vertically, they start at, what is that? 11? Yeah, 11/16. No. Oh my God, why am I getting stupid here? So 0.6875, 11/16. Why? Why am I stumping myself on decimals now? 11/16 equals, yeah, 0.68. Wow. I got stupid there for a second. And then they are 3/8 of an inch, wide, the racks. And then from center to center, they are, I believe they're 0.65, and 6.5 is fine. But, and I'm quite off center, but center to center, 0.6. So Control Z. That's my main numbers and all. So what I'd like to do is here on the right side, I'd like to make my shelf. So it's going to come, it's going to be 3/4 inches thick. We're going to go 0.75, 12. push pull, that's going to come out. And I'm only going to come out on that wall about 12 inches. So let's go 12. And then in here, let's zoom in. There's going to be a, I'm not mounting right straight to the side cabinet and everything. There's going to be another piece. So let's go, let me draw that in there. This is actually going to come down to here. Push, pull that out. It's going to be 3/4 inches thick. The this shelf comes into this one. So this shelf here, I'm going to pull that out just another 3/8, 0.375, because let me hide this for a second. This goes in 0.375, and this one, I got to draw a line. This comes down. Okay, so that's going to be the joint. It'll be just a simple rabbet joint on there. And so I need to select that face, this face. Work with me now. All right, give me just a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Group that. Always got to, you know, kind of group these. Oh, Lord have mercy. Control Z. Okay, and that goes out 12 inches from there. Okay, so if I don't group these components and everything, when I go to bring them into Vectric, they'll be all convoluted and they'll be they won't be their own, you know, shelf and all. Now from here on the racks are vertical and everything. We have a 11/16 kind of border all the way around. So I'll use the guideline for that on the rack. So we're going to come in 0.6875. We'll come down 0.6875. I don't know what in the world that was. Let's try that again. 0.6875. From this edge, I need to be 11/16 off that edge, not to the inside of the rabbet, but actually from the edge there, 0.6875. And then we'll just come here, 0.6875. Now, within this area, we are going to have 3/8 inch slots. So they're going to have a width of 3/8. And there's going to be, you know, I'm just going to bring them all the way across here. Now, if I take this rectangle right here and I select it, I'll select all 4 lines, this, this, and this. If I move and I grab it, I'm going to grab it right in the center. And if I move it, I'll hold the control key down and move it over. I'm going to move it over 0.6 inches. and I'm going to go 0.6. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to create that copy. Now I'm going to hit the letter X. I wish Vectric would do this, but I'm going to hit the letter X, and then I'm going to go over, let's go 12 times 12, so X12, and hit enter. Oh, wait a minute now. Undo that. Let's try that one more time. It's 12X, not X12. So one more time, let me hold down the control key. Let me select my vectors again. It's 12X, not X12, you goofball. All right, one more time. The move tool, we're going to hold down the control key, and we're going to go 0.6. Then 12X. Oh, I should have went 13X. Let's see here. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's go 16X. Is it going to let me do it again? No. All right, that's all right. I have to just grab this one. Thought it would let me go back and type in the next number again, and no problem. So move, M for move. Hold down the control key, drag this over. Go ahead and type in 0.6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go 6X, enter, and then get rid of what we don't need. So we'll get rid of this one, those 4 lines, get rid of this one. All right, so now on each of those, I'd like to, I will, in Vectric most likely, I might center those between these 2 guidelines here. Let me see how far the distance is, and I can just do it all at once. So if I measure from here to here, it's 5/16. So, hold on a second, because I'm a dummy on math, 0.3125 divided by 2 equals 0.15625. 0.15625. I should be able to come in here and, let's see here, select all of those. Use the move tool. Slide them over 0.15625. Enter. There we go. Cool. And while I'm here, I can push pull. I can be an idiot all day long. Let me grab them again. All right, edit, copy. Got to open up that component and then edit, paste in place. All right, so now I can push pull that down 0.75, 0.75. Now, I will be rounding over all of these top edges with a 1/16 inch round over. 0.75. All I'm doing is pushing this down a little bit and then typing over 3/4. And I might be able to just select that, hold the shift key, that one, that one, that one, that one. If you don't use SketchUp, you forget what you can and can't do. Now I should be able to push Alt. Nope, it's not going to let me. I was hoping it would let me do it all at once. Now, when I make this, this is also going to get copied, and it's going to be the back of the rack too. So this will be what holds the plates. All right. So that is the rack. I can now select those top vectors that I drew and hit delete on them because they don't need to be there. I should have drawn them on the component. I should have opened up the component and drew them there, and that's why I just deleted them. So this board here is going to get copied. Let me zoom out. It is going to get, hold down the control key. It's going to get copied. And that copy is going to get rotated 90 degrees. And the, let's go move. Let's put this back here. I'm going to set it on top for right now. But the joinery, this is going to actually sit down 3/8 of an inch in. So before I do that, let me just move it up out of the way for a second. And what I'm going to do is I should have, that's why in this here, there's that drawing right there. That's where the back sits. Should have already accounted for that. This one's a little longer than that 5/8 right there, you know. So I'm an idiot. But anyway, the coming back in here, and no problem. Let's take my tape measure. Let's go into this component. Tape measure and pull 3/4 of an inch, 0.75, which is right there. Draw a line right down that rule. Where'd it go? There it is. Straight across here. Don't worry about that. This line goes here. Take this, hide it for a moment. All right, so these vectors, these small vectors here, I can delete them because they're not going to be part of that 3/4. Or, I mean, they're in that 3/4 inch area. They are, get rid of those. All the way down. This is what happens when you're you're not planning ahead. Let's see, let's get rid of that. Okay, don't get rid of this. This needs to go all the way across. Okay. What I'm trying to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is just get rid of those outside vectors. Whoa. If I don't get rid of these vectors, then when I go to push pull, it will leave that material there. And I don't want that. Not planning ahead. We're almost there. Just got to get caught back up, then we can move forward. Okay, so with that gone, I should be able to pull this down 3/8, 0.375. There you go. And these lines that are here, those, Lord knows what they're from, but we'll get rid of them. I can't just like grab this like that because it'll want to grab things that I don't want to grab. I want to grab just these. And to be honest with you, I don't know where they came from, but they're there. Any vectors that do not belong get removed because they're going to get imported into Vectric, and I don't want to sit there in Vectric and be wondering what in the heck was that. And once I get past this screw up, then we can move forward. Give me just a second. Oops. Okay. 3 more. All right, so now you see how this part kind of, when I change this one, it matched this one. That's because of the fact that they are copies of each other. So I'm going to take my push-pull tool and I'm going to pull this back up and snap this into place just for a second, so I can select this part and I can make it unique. If I make it unique, now whatever I do to this one does not happen to the one above. So now I can come back to this one and I can pull that down, that 0.375, and we'll be good there. And then I can take this part and move it to here. And that will be my back and my front rack. Now, when I, on the rack here, when I went back in and closed off those lines, it got rid of them. It closed them back up as like they were closed cells. So those grids and everything were completely removed. And so that's going to be the plate rack. Okay, so now let's unhide everything. View, edit, unhide all. Now the side here, I'm going to, there's going to be a shelf that comes across here, and there also needs to be a rabbet on the back edge that this board goes into. So I'm just going to, on this board here, I'm going to draw a line from here to here and then down. I'll finish it off in just a second. And then while I'm also here, I'm going to go across. Now on the shelf, I don't want the shelf to come all the way out. I want it to be just back a little bit. And this is going to be a shelf that'll hold, my plates are going to be down below. I might have some mugs and stuff on this shelf. Over on the right-hand side, we're going to draw a little, create a little shelf that's going to hold like soaps, dispensers, and things like that. But this one, this shelf, it's going to be, I don't know, let's go 6 inches. So we're going to go 6, 0.75, enter. So there'll be a rabbet there. And I can select this and hide it for a moment. I'll select this and hide it also. Just so I can delete that. Push pull that in 0.375. Okay. Come down here and get rid of this line. I don't need it there anymore. So that should be one continuous rabbit and then a group, a dado goes across the green. So there'll be a dado here and then a rabbit on the back edge and a rabbit on the bottom edge. And that's where these two parts will, oh, I gotta get out of there. Speaking of that, let me do that real quick. Let me add some color here so we can kind of differentiate some things. So that's going to be all cabinet area. We'll make this the sink area so we can see what we're working on. All right. Let's unhide all to put that back. Now the shelf, let's go ahead and take this part, hold down the control key, or the move key, sorry, and the control, and we're going to drag a copy right over and snap it into place here. Now I want to snap it into place there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab it at the top on the inside. So that way when I drag it, I can just snap it right to that corner. And then I need to flip it. So if I right click this part and I flip it along, I can flip it along my red axis, green or blue. If I flip it along the green axis, let's try that again. The red, flip along the red axis. It should turn it around and make those grooves and everything match there. Now there's going to be a little shelf coming out here, but I'm going to keep this kind of open area up here open so that the sink faucet can pivot, you know, left and right and all that stuff. So here, let's go ahead and get the shelf in there, and I'll get rid of that background in just a second. Let me do that right now so that doesn't keep flashing on the screen like that. Let's just hide this for now. There we go. On that shelf, we're going to come in. I'm going to go deep. Make sure I'm inside that groove when I draw the rectangle. Move that line up to there. All right, now I can pull that all the way across. Now, I'd like to take a measurement before I pull that so I know exactly how far I need to pull it. So from here all the way to here, we are at 38 3/4 inches. Okay, so push pull that out and just type in 38.75 and hit enter to bring that across. Okay, now this whole back area here, I'm going to have a little shelf and it'll have holes in it. I might get one of those. If we went online, right? Let's say we went online and let's go to Amazon. And let's say that we type in kitchen soap dispenser. And those are flush mount for like countertops and stuff. is there one that would sit down in a hole? Those just sit on the shelf. That sits in a hole and goes like under cabinet. Don't want that. I thought there might be one where there would be hanging bottles or something, but I guess not. So it's just going to be, man, I would love to have had it. That's okay. It'll probably be something that just sits on the shelf. I'd like to have had something that had a wide lip on it so the whole bottle could just drop down in and everything. That would have been cool. And I'm sure there are if I took time to look, but we're not going to waste time doing that. But could even have something like this if it has the bottle underneath. Don't know. But we'll just, for right now, we'll make it a shelf, and then I'll figure out what needs to be done with that. So it'll just be a shelf, and it'll have all the soaps and rags and what have you. So here, basically, there's going to be, let's go with a rectangle tool. Turn this up so you can get into that corner. And let me hide. Let's turn all the guidelines off, all the guides off. But when you're, in here, don't forget there's a back right here, right? So, oops. And sometimes you can get into the wall. So when we're drawing, our part, our rectangle, we got to make sure that we get back here so that when I draw that rectangle across, and I should be able to drag myself out. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Oh, gosh, I knew that was going to happen. Let me zoom back in. Almost made it, but not quite. Let's go to the move tool. Oops. Let's try that one more time. All right, let's try it one more time. Rectangle tool. There we go. Push, pull. Oops. Almost screwed up. I almost actually drew that in the component. We don't want that. It needs to be outside the component, not part of it. There we go. Move that. Move that. Push, pull that out. Now, if I'm going to have a shelf come out and everything, it has to have some kind of, something connecting it here. And I'll have it come out a little bit more. And I need to have something connecting it so it's not just kind of floating there. There's no real structure. I could bring it down and bring a support down to the counter, but I don't want that. I want to just have a simple support. Now this, I'm actually going to do kind of just a right along here. It's just going to be a simple kind of post. And let me see if I can actually get the guideline to actually come down where I want this. On my tape measure, if I pull back, let's say here, oh, got to turn those guides back on or else you're not going to see them. If I pull back here, that's 1 inch in. This is a 6-inch shelf, so I should be able to pull, let's go 5 inches. 5 right there. And if I draw a 1 inch dowel. I got to do it by radius, 0.5, enter. And I pull that up. I should be able to go. And it's not going to go all the way in like that, but for right now, we'll just throw that. Let's do that one more time. Missed it by a mile. Missed it by a mile. Pull that up to there. All right, let me take a second and go into these components. Select that guideline and hit delete. Go into this component, select that guideline, hit delete, and then select all those and hit delete. Just trying to get all the guides out of the way. All right. So that should be enough structure. What I didn't want to do is it's going to be light. There's not going to be a whole lot of, weight on this right here. So I'm okay with this being the support. And if I have to, I'll drill, there'll be a countersink and drill. So there's like hardware, from underneath, but I don't, whatever I've set on here, my bottles of soap and this and that, I don't want them obstructed by like a wall, right? So I just want that post there and everything. So that's going to be that. And because also I don't want a wall there because I literally I'm going to put a backboard here. We're going to do a 3D model. And it's going to be this whole area right here, big panel. Excuse me. And it's actually going to cover this whole area here, except for where the plates and stuff are. So this whole area, right? Let me zoom in from here all the way to here and down to there. And then draw a line right across here. And then straight down to there. Okay. Get rid of that. This whole area is going to be like almost like a mural. And I'm going to do a 3D carving in it. And what I got to make sure of on the 3D carving is, there's going to be grooves cut, or, a space kind of, cleared out. These are not going to be recessed into the mural or by any means. It's going to be just the kind of a backer board. I only pulled it out like this just to kind of show, but this is all going to be, carved area. And I might even take it as far as up here where it's like behind the whole shelf. It all depends on the scene and stuff that we build. But that's going to be pretty slick. Now, on this structure here, we're going to have, let's get the top shelf put in because it's going to go the full 12 inches. So over here, this rectangle comes down 3/4 and across. Push pull and it goes back 3/8. Over here, this should have done the same thing because it's a mirror copy, right? Which it did. It did. And then I can draw my shelf. Or not shelf, but the top board. pull that down 3/4. Okay. And the space in between here, there's going to be another shelf. And what I did on the original plate rack, as you can see from the one shelf here, it's 4 5/8. And then there was another, shelf there. So 4 5/8. When I originally drew this plate rack, that was it gave plenty of room for my mugs, that we're going to sit on that shelf and everything, with some air, some air gap and all that. But not a lot. It wasn't that big. But I have, so let's call that our, we want to shoot for that, if not more. So here, if I come in and measure my height from here to here, I have 9 1/8 inches, 9 1/8 inches. So if I went up 4 5/8, 4.625 to there, that would leave me, 4.5 here. So I got to account for a 3/4 inch shelf that's going to be there. I'm going with 3/4 inch wood. I'm not doing 1/2 inch or any of that stuff. I don't want any sagging or anything. It's already, bad enough. It's going to be kind of in a wet environment. Not really, but so I have to account for a 3/4 inch, board. I don't know why that says 7/8. Let's try that again. Okay. So there's going to be a 3/4 inch, board there. And also, the bottom shelf is out 6 inches. I think I'm going to pull this out another inch. And then this one I'll bring out only 5 inches. So it'll be recessed back a little bit. So here, let's create that dado. It's going to be 5.5. Might as well use a 1x5, right? 5.25? 5.25, comma, 0.75, enter. Oop, went the wrong direction. Let's try that one more time. 0.75 is the first number, then the comma, then 5.25. Push pull to bring that back 3/8, 0.375. Now, by the way, to switch from, like push pull to move to rotate, the tape measure, the shortcut is T. Push pull is the letter P on the keyboard. Move is the letter M. The rectangle is the letter R. Circles, that kind of thing. L for line. So when I'm on the keyboard, when I'm drawing lines or when I'm switching out, right now I'm in the push-pull tool. If I wanted to switch to the rectangle tool, I'm hitting the letter R and I'm drawing a rectangle, right? So Jay's Custom Creations, his video gallery on his how-tos and everything, he goes all over kind of the different basic keyboard shortcuts and stuff. If you ever are curious, he has a phenomenal playlist. I've said it numerous times, but he has a phenomenal playlist on now, notice what I did to the right side happened to the left already as well. And one of the things that I want to be mindful of is I don't have to go the full length across. Now I am going the full length on this one, and again I've got to extend this out another inch. Don't forget to remind me of that. But on this shelf, I can have all of this open for taller items. It could be a plant vase. It could be whatever, right? Whatever it may be. So I don't have to go all the way over to the other side. And if that's the case, then I'll just erase this, data over here in just a moment. And I think, what did this guideline right here represent? Because that's a good distance right there. What is that? That was 14 3/8. That was 14 3/4. That was where the center the spigot was. So that was the guideline for that. But it's actually a nice, that's a nice distance there. So what I can do is yep. All right. We'll use it. So here, now I'm drawing into this board right here. So I double click on it to open it up. It's a group. Okay. It was a group. Oh, did I not group that bad boy? Hold on a second.
I don't think you did.
I don't think I did either. All right. One more time. Let me get my measurement before I do that. Son of a gun. Let's see. 6 7/8. That's all I need to know. All right. One more time. Let me select that. Hit delete. It's no problem. This one, 6 7/8. Can't believe I did that. Push pull
6.875.
Thank you very much. Now, if I triple click on this, it selects just that. Then I can hit G for group. So now that item is grouped. The shelf here, grab the rectangle tool. I'm going to come into, oops. Hold on a second. Zoom out a little bit. Zoom out further, further, further. I am inside the walls right now. That's what you're seeing. All right. Sometimes SketchUp takes you in the wall. While I'm here, I'll go ahead and take this line and move it out another inch. So move, grab just this line, and actually, that's a lie. Control Z to undo. If I come in just a little bit, let me zoom in closer. If I turn this just a little bit, I can use the push-pull tool and just push that another inch. 1, enter. There we go. So get out of that component. Now, if I draw my rectangle, and the reason why I'm kind of zooming in, I got to get into this. I got to get down into this corner here. Because it wants to sometimes snap to the outside corner. And I need to make sure that it's in there. Otherwise, it creates an angle. But push-pull that's my shelf. So you can see there. And that shelf, when I push-pull it, it was 38 and 38. Oh, all right. Hold on a second, because I forgot my own number. So let's measure from there all the way to there. 38 3/4. So push-pull 38.75. Now, when I draw this, I need to triple click on it, hit G for group. Now that's a group. Now I don't, now I don't have to, worry about my, screwing up and everything. Now here, let me hide this for just a second. This board, the shelf is literally just kind of sitting right on top of that. Now I'm all about like joining everything together and all. I might make this 3/8 of an inch taller and have it, a rabbit on the bottom end of that shelf or something. I'll think about that in just a minute, but let me unhide that. All right, so that is 38. Now that is its own component. So now I don't have to worry about, accidentally grabbing it. So I can go into this here And I can draw that rectangle, and it's going to come out. Remember, my upper shelf is 5 1/4. So this rectangle is going to come out 5.25, comma, by 3/4, 0.75. And of course, 3/4 is not always first. That's a lie, but it's first. 0.75, comma, 5.25. And this gets recessed down 3/8. Okay. The top shelf here, same thing from this line, from that dotted line. We go 0.75, comma, 5.25. And then that gets pushed up 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. That's my mortise depth. This dado depth is 3/8 of an inch deep. For the joinery and everything. Now, if I T for tape measure and measure from here down in here, that's 9 7/8. So when I draw the rectangle, whether I go, let's do the bottom one, it'll probably be easier to get down into this. When I draw the rectangle, let me spin this around. Now you see how it wanted to snap to that upper line there? It kind of creates like that angle. I don't want that. So I need to kind of be in this corner. But I have to, in order to be able to kind of zoom around to see that corner and everything, I have to be able to get inside it. Otherwise, SketchUp takes me into the wall. So I need to move this line. I need to move it all the way to here. And this line, I need to move it to there to fill up that gap. That's my, see, I'm in the wall now. Let me get out of it. When it takes you in the wall, it's crazy. All right, 9 7/8. Was that my number? Does anybody remember?
I remember those 7/8.
Right. So if I pull this, hold on. Let me just because. Let me measure it again. From there to there, 9 7/8. Yep. Okay. So if I pull this up, all I have to do is just drag it a little bit and then type in 9.875 and hit enter, and it'll throw it the rest of the way up there and everything. Now, if it were you, would your shelf, the divider, if this was going to be divider, would you have it divide like that where it's just, as wide as this shelf is going to be right here? Or would you bring it all the way out? I think I should bring it all the way. I think I should bring it all the way out.
I would keep that buried.
I would too, probably, right? Control Z.
Make it a stop dado.
Yeah. The shelf, that 5 1/8 inch shelf, is going to come all the way to the edge here. So I'm wondering if I should go just a little bit further out. So there's some meat, it's a stop dado here. Or if I should leave it that, because this, bear with me a second. I got to get it drawn in here. Ignore this dado over here on the sides. That's going to go away in just a minute. But here, the rectangle tool, this is going to come out 5.25. Oh, you son of a gun. .75, comma, 5.25, enter. It's going to come out there. And when I, when I pull it, it's going to, I think I should bring everything. I think I should bring this out just another 3/4. like that. And then bring this back. Let me do it again. 0.75, comma, 5.25, enter to that. Push pull to push that in, 0.375. Now I have to, because I went out another 3/4 of an inch here, I need to make sure that that this, let me hide this for a second, hide. I need to make sure that I push this out. Another 3/4, 0.75 to match it. And my top board, edit, unhide, last. Okay, somebody once told me. Control Z to undo. Give me just a second. Make sure I have to make sure that I group this one. For some reason it wasn't grouped before I come in and push pull this up. 9.875. Lord have mercy. Rectangle tool. One more time. I'm backtracking, ladies and gentlemen. 0.75, comma, 5.25, enter. Oh, shoot. Push pull. 0.75. My top board was not grouped together. That's why I had to start back again. 0.75, comma, 5.25, enter. 0.375. All right, so now triple click this, group it together so it's one item. Hide this. It should not hide my upper board. On the upper board, let's kind of go in and get into it. Zoom in, rotate a little bit, zoom in, rotate, rotate, rotate. Oops. All right. So now this is the front. I got it turned all the way around. When I click into this, I can push this out another 3/4. Make it longer. Now, let's get back out here. My bottom board, get zoomed back into it. Same thing, get up close because otherwise it'll throw you in the wall. But push this, I need to push that out 3/4. And all I'm doing is I'm pushing a little bit, holding the left mouse button down, and then typing the distance I want it to go. So now that I've done that, I can now unhide that shelf board, that little board, the upright. Okay. And it's sitting, it'll fit into that, that stop dado. Now I have this distance. If I measure from here to here, that is 24 3/4. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Actually, I can just do it back here all the way across there. And then just push this out 5.25. Okay. triple click. G for triple click. Choose what triple click does is when you triple click it, it selects all the faces, front, back, left, right, top, bottom. It selects them all, and then when you group them together, create that component, it creates it as a whole component. So it's that's when I say triple click, you're literally left clicking 1, 2, 3 times, and it it selects all the faces of that object that you have created, you've drawn. All right. So this is what we're looking like so far. Now this over here, I want to make this shelf board or this wall board unique. So make unique, meaning that when I delete this dado here, it doesn't do it on this side over here. So over here, I'm simply going to open up this wall, push, pull, and bring this back out to here. And then I'm going to just select these lines and remove them, and it gets rid of that. All right. Now, again, there's going to be a mural, all back here. And I need the vector for that. I need the vector. So I'm going to draw the rectangle again. Now that when I select this, basically, that should be its own component. That should be that, and that, and the shelf board, this board, and that board. Good. So now when I draw my lines again.
Well, don't you have a problem in that right-hand corner above the soap shelf?
Over here?
Over toward the long wall. You'll have to rotate. Nope, other way. Back to the right. What's going on with, see that inside corner?
Oh, yes. I have a, rabbit. So thank you. Fix that. I got to draw a line across. Let me zoom in. I got to draw a line across here from there to there. Make sure I'm clicked into this. Yep. And then I got to draw a line across here. Oops. And I should be able to pull this back out to there. Delete that line and make it one wall again. Now let me get out of the wall. I'm inside the wall. Now, if I hide this component right here, I should just have just that rabbit across the bottom. Now I can come in here and that line right there, I can delete that. So it makes it one piece. Yep. Okay, good catch. Thank you, JR. All right, so now I can unhide that last. I'll put in the dowel holes and everything on the shelf boards later, but there's going to be a dowel hole that's going to be, 5 inches in, 1 inch from the left side. I'll put that in there in just a second. But right now, I'm going to draw this rectangle to here. Move. Now, when you stop a rectangle, you can't just grab it again and start pointing. You have to move, right? So I'm moving, and if it thinks I'm wanting to not stay on the wall. It thinks I'm wanting to, kind of pull out at an angle, right? And I don't, so, you got to be mindful when you're moving that you have something to move to or be able to snap to so that it will, and then this is going to go here. Get rid of that line so that it doesn't go haywire on you. Now, so that I have something here, you know, just so I know it's something, I'm going to pull this out just 1/8 of an inch. That whole kind of wall unit, and it's not going to interfere with any of my other parts or anything, but what it's going to do is 0.125. It just gives it, you know, like there's an area here. So when it brings this vector in and I see this, you know, odd shape vector, I'll know what it is, and it'll kind of help me lay out my 3D models and all. All right, so let's triple click that.
Check your right side again. Is that lining up?
No, hold on a second. Push pull.
There you go.
Okay, triple click that. G for group. Okay, so that's going to kind of just, now of course it's going to be, there's literally this, I'm going to have a model. I'm going to be carving a model. So there's going to be a rabbit on the edge of the model that this shelf board mounts to, or this, you know, side panel goes into. Across the top, there's going to be a rabbit. Across the, you know, down the left, there's going to be a rabbit on this panel. I'll draw all that in Vectric. But right now, I just need to get the general, you know, shape and everything. I will also, let me triple click this. Let me just draw in a line, a reference line for myself, from there to there. G for group. That way that line comes in with it so I can know where that shelf comes out to, you know, in that panel, depending on how that, because that's got to mount into that back panel too. All right, so now I am going to, on the shelf, I'll have, you know, things sitting up here on the shelf. I'm going to have my plate rack here. The plate rack can't just dangle, you know, like this on this edge. I'm going to have some the plates that I'm going to be using. Stand by 1 second. Let me show you the plates just so you can have an idea. So basically, we've had these plates. Let me see if I can get close up at all. They're just they've been in the family for a while, and they are. I've got an entire set of them with the glasses and all that stuff. You know how your grandma keeps that stuff. But they've got a. I like the blue, but they're going to be on the rack. And so they'll be there. They're not going to be no facial display or anything like that. They're just going to be on the rack, just because right now they're just sitting in a shelf. They're taking up a whole, there's what, 12 or 13 of them. I forget how many there are, but they're just taking up space that could be used for something else. So I want them kind of on display. We do, on special occasions or whatever, eat on them. Otherwise, they're just for show. I don't know. I guess that's how the fancy folks do it. But there's going to, so I'm not going to trust that. I'm not going to trust that, you know, there's no support here. I don't want any flexing. Right. You know, I don't want any downhill sagging or anything to where the plate just kind of decides, oh, I'm going to just roll right off the front. You know what I mean? That would kind of bite. So what I need to do is this shelf is coming out at 7 inches, I think. Let me see here. I think I moved it out to 7. Let's measure. T for tape measure. From here to here is 6 7/8 inches. And so the basically from here 6.875, that would be to that line there. And I can't just do like, you know, some kind of support that goes all the way down, because that's my sink right there. There's an actual sink right there. So we will just go let's go into this. I have 7/8 to that first rack, and I'm going to go 3/4. Let me see here. 3/4. Yeah. So from that line, we'll go across here. I'll go 0.75 comma, and let's go 1.5 inches. 1.5, wrong way, of course. Let's try that again. 1.5 comma 0.75, enter. Push pull 0.375. And then up here, (1.5 comma 0.75, enter. Wrong way.
Glad to see I'm not the only one who does that.
0.75 comma 1.5, and then push pull. Of course, got to get into the component, ladies and gentlemen. So you got to double click yourself into the component, then draw your shape. 0.75. Oh, I did it again. We'll do it one more time. 0.75 first, then 1.5. All right, now when I push pull, we're actually pushing into that. So 0.375, or yeah, 375. Okay. Now, if I measure from here, tape measure, from inside the top of that dado to the bottom of this groove. Oh, I'm in a wall. Hold on a minute. One and 3/8, 12 3/8 inches. Yep, 12 3/8 inches. So if I come in here and I draw a rectangle inside here, and I push that up 12.375, I'm in a wall. That should give me my support right there. And then I can triple click that, G for group, to make that, you know, one item. Now, I think I'm okay with it. Yeah, I'll be okay with it going there. I could bury it back, you know, into there. Then I'd have to create a mortise, and then I'd have to do some chisel work. No, we're good. All right, so that's going to be my parts for that. Let's go in here and delete that guide. Okay. Like I said before, there's going to be, I'd love to incorporate this. I swear, I really would like to, on this dowel that I'm going to do here, I'd like to incorporate a way where it could be removed. And it could be like a paper towel holder. Right. But anyway, no, I don't want that. But that, just to put it back where it was, we were 5 inches out.
Are you sure you want a spot or a dowel there and a square on the other side?
Not really.
That's going to say. Your
I'll
OCD
probably
will look
match
at
it
that
up.
every day.
Yeah, I'll probably match it up. So if I can, I should be able to take this. Oops. Now, and I could put a shelf across there. I could bring this all the way to the back, that to the back, put a shelf across there. So many possibilities of what I could do with that. But right now, there's no dados or grooves or anything. By the way, everybody here is a woodworker, y'all pay, but everybody should know grooves go with the grain, dado goes go across the grain, right? Little tidbit for those that might not. Okay, so when I have a component here, right? If I take this component right now, I can pretty much, first of all, I got to click into it. Now, if I hide this for a second, I can click back into this and push pull, bring that down 0.375. Okay, and then up here, all I have to do on this one is triple click or double click onto that, and I just need to draw this rectangle right there. Then I can come back again and hide this part, and on this one I can just double click back into it and push pull that back 1.5 inches, and then unhide. Okay. Now, what I was saying before, because now these are exact matches of one another. So just for kicks and giggles and stuff, let me kind of give an example of what I was talking about. I could, let me see if I can get up closer. I could, if I wanted to, widen this up, right? However wide, it doesn't have to be the full length. I could, let me get out of the wall. Throw a shelf across here. It could have, T-hooks on it. It could do, there could be all kinds of things that I could do with that. I could bring it all the way back to the wall and, put another shelf right up here for some other kind of display right there. Depends on how much shelf space I'll let the, I'll let that fester for a little bit and decide what I want to do with that. But this is going to be my main kind of structure. And what's important is I'll take these parts here and along with this backboard area here, this area here that's drawn here, and I'll go ahead and bring that into the Vectric software so we can start kind of laying that out, because it's already 9 o'clock and we're getting there. Now, as far as what I want to do here, if I want to add another shelf, I'll kind of debate on that. But somewhere back here, I don't know where it's going to be. I do want to put hooks because I have some hanging, not utensils, but I'd like to hang, if I come back into here, let me show you an example of what I'm referring to. Maybe not. Here we go. We'll use this as an example. I'd like to possibly, have something, some of my mugs hanging. I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to incorporate that. I was looking, when I was looking for inspiration, you see these hooks and stuff and things. There's lots of things. There's lots of ways that I could go with this, right? I don't want to make it overly complicated, but I don't want to miss out on an opportunity for, being able to hang some of my most regularly used mugs or something like that in it. And if I, it's not going to affect what I'm carving back here and everything. That's still going to be, the carving is still going to be there. And everything, but I just might have something, hanging down, right? And all. I may put the hooks up here and have some things hanging up here with something sitting on the shelf there in this big opening. I'm not quite sure. I might have an extension down here with hooks so something's hanging under the plates. There's so many possibilities that I could do with that space. And right now it's just a dead space, so I can kind of build on and add on. So we'll just leave it like this for just a moment. And let's go ahead and save this. File save as. I'm going to call this in my fall theme project, I'll call this my over the sink cabinet, and change over to over.
Hey, Laney.
Yeah.
Just for an organizational point, do you ever label your parts before you import them, or do you import them then label them, or you just don't label the parts?
I don't necessarily label them because they're, I can't really write text. The text doesn't transition over like you would think. But what you can do is you can color one of the faces that you want to be the top face, like what comes up, in the software. So that when you bring, and I can also put parts on layers, right? So I can throw this part and this part on I could call it my left layer or my left piece, right piece, that kind of thing, and bring it in on layers. And then the software Vectric will, have me choose, what layers I want to bring in. And possibly if I put it on a layer and give it a name, that would actually create a layer in Vectric with that name. So let's find out. So if I said right support, we'll just call it right panel. The let's close this, click OK. Not sure, the color doesn't do anything for me. Save as. What I'm looking for is the entity info. That's what I'm looking for, the entity info. So I can put that on the right panel layer, and I can give it a name here. I'll just call it right panel again, right panel. And the definition name says component 12. I'll just, again, I don't know, right panel. Now, that should be on there. And if I save this, file save, when I go into SketchUp, or not SketchUp, but Vectric, we're going to go new. Single, double-sided, not single-sided. There's two sides to most of these parts. We're going to, for right now, I'm just going to go 24 by 36 just for my main panel. Then I'll lay everything out on their sheets. Material surface, machine bed. I'll set off on the machine bed so I can cut the parts through, cut them out. I will flip along I like flipping along my left to right, which for me is my x-axis on the 4x4 machine, and click OK. Now, when I import, wait for it. When I import from downloads, fall theme project here, it should, in my display, I should have all the other 14 parts are in layer 0 because they weren't organized by layer, and then I should have just that one part in the right layer. I'm not orientated by color. I didn't color anything. Group imported points, keep them together, and when I click OK, what I should see, that's a crooked line. That's what I should see. But if we go to layers, right panel, if I turn these off, it separates them and gives them that, that right panel layer there, and layer 0 is the rest of them. So it doesn't, it separates it, right? And so if I do that, if I put them on their own layer, then it'll bring them in on their layers. So that's one way you could do it, JR, is put each of your components on, their, individual layers, and it will separate them by what they are and all, because there's no text or nothing here saying that this is the right panel. It just happens to be that's the layer name, layer 0 and layer right panel layer. So all the other parts are, here. And so I never do, JR, but it's not a bad idea too, especially when you have a lot of parts going on and stuff like that. When there's a lot of crazy things happening and stuff.
That's what I'm thinking about.
This part, that's going to be my 3D part right there. And all this line, even though it's crooked, I'll straighten it up. But that just kind of represents where that shelf is right there. So, and then 3/4 inches over this way is where that other shelf is. So I'll draw everything out. But this is my area where the model is going to go. But yeah, I could, bring them all in SketchUp. I could, separate this to the left panel, this to, back rack, front rack, or, bottom rack, shelf, small shelf, large shelf, and that kind of thing. There's not a whole lot of parts here. I've never separated them or anything. But it's not a bad idea to do so.
Yeah.
Give me one second. I'm going to set that.
You're a one-man shop, so.
Right. But if I was working in a production where, other people are going to be opening the files and they need to know what they're looking at, then, I would definitely do that. But I would do it all here. So all of my sheets in Vectric, because there's going to be more than one sheet cutting these parts out, they would have their names. I would create the layers, for the panels and everything in here and move them to layers here. I wouldn't do that in SketchUp per se. I would do it all in Vectric, so that the toolpaths can be associated with those layers and stuff. All right, let's do some 3D modeling really quickly to show you kind of what I've got going on. But before I do, let's take a quick break to show you some of the things that I have for you guys and girls that I'm going to make available to you. Let's go to here and let's go up. You are going to, I'm going to be making this file available for download. It'll be available in the Digital Woodcarver Spindle TV, not Digital Woodcarver, Spindle TV exclusive group, as well as the description of this video. You guys are the only ones that have, you guys and girls are the only ones that have access to this. But there are some Thanksgiving and themed projects. So basically, there's just some fun stuff for Thanksgiving. So eat the ham. Happy Thanksgiving. But this is just a V carve. All right. So let's see. Let's back up to 3D model. Let's take a look at that. So you'll have this framed kind of portrait. And I think what I'll do before I give it to you is I'll take, make Happy Thanksgiving. I'll take it out of there and make it a separate item. That way, if somebody wanted just this frame and backdrop and they wanted to add something else to it, they could, and Happy Thanksgiving wouldn't be in there. But that STL file, you'll have the pumpkin patch models. There's a V-carve version and a 3D version. So basically, you'll have kind of like, just some fun little fall Thanksgiving signs. And party bowls, door hangers. Let's extract that. All right, just add a rope to it to hang on your knocker, what have you. But there's going to be the color's a little off on that, but there's going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's 2 and some, so around 10 different projects of STLs and DXFs and all that for kind of like fall, Thanksgiving and stuff. I'll make that available to you all. And normally that was, it's for sale on my website. It's $98 for that entire pack, but you guys are getting it all for free. And I'll make that file available to you. All right, let's go ahead and let's move this back panel here out of the way because that's nothing. That's just that fake wall. Also, you got to remember I only brought in the visible parts. So that left cabinet, that upper cabinet, and that front cabinet and everything, remember I had those hidden when I saved them and everything. And when I imported this, I checked off for the visible parts. Anything that's hidden was hidden. But this area here, this is the one this is where that mural is going to be. And we're actually going to use from the clip art, I bought some models. And I've got some models, same models that were kind of in that Thanksgiving theme sign and everything. And then I have some ducks and pheasants and stuff from Design and Make. So we're going to use some of those components and lay out something in here. So I'm going to create a new sheet. This panel area right here. It is going to be a glue up of a panel, but right now it's 40 by 24 is the kind of the main area here. And then I'll 39.5 by 23 and 7/8 is the actual, the area and all, but we're going to go 40 by 24. So on the sheet, we're going to add a new sheet. We're going to call this our 3D scene. It's going to get edited. And we're going to go 40 by 24. Okay. Now, on this, I'm going to take this vector. I'm going to pop back over to, sheet 1. I'm going to take this vector here, and I'm going to move it to that sheet. And my cabinets are oak cabinets. So this will be, I'm not a big fan of carving in oak, but we will carve in, it will be oak to match the cabinets and all. And, but I'm not going to try to be like exactly with the tone and color. It's just going to be a nice stained oak. It'll probably be, I'll do my best. I'll try to do my best to color match it. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the name of it, what the name of the cabinets are, but I'll have to look that up and everything. But now, this white area, my sheet area here, is just the sheet area. So it's not taken in account the wall panel, and everything here and here. So I may, extend this out because, again, going back to SketchUp, if we look, I'm running right out to the edge. So it is taking it out to the edge. But the there's got to be a dado and groove. So where this kind of comes in here on the panel, right going across the top, going back in here, the shelf, imagine the shelf is across the top here, and then the right side of that plate rack is there. The bottom of the plate rack is here. And then coming up this edge, forget the white part over there, but right up that edge, 3/8 of an inch over is going to be that panel. And it's going to be a solid piece of wood. I'm not going to sit here and cut a notch out of it or anything like that. I'll figure that out, how I want to, put that backer board in. We'll see how it all plays out. But first things first, I'm going to ungroup, U for ungroup, and I'm going to come in here to node editing. I'm going to select this node first, hold down the shift key, select this node last, and I'm going to hit the letter Y on the keyboard to pull that line straight because I drew it crooked in SketchUp. But so that's that. And all that is, it's a reference of where that shelf, is coming out. and everything. Now this edge here, again, that represents the full right side edge. So this is the bottom of that shelf. So 3/4 of an inch up. From here up to here, there's a panel going in there. So there's got to be a pocket for a rabbit for that side panel to go in there. This is only this bottom area here. So it's literally squared off, on the edges, but I've got it drawn in here across the top. So that's only where the little seam is going to be. So what we got going on here is I'm going to leave these vectors as they are, but I'm going to start kind of pulling in the models and stuff, and kind of building the frames and all. Now what I'd like to be able to do is not have to create any models. I want to make this kind of where anyone can do it, whether they have Desktop Pro or Aspire. So I'll try to utilize what's what's available to me and everything. So first things first, I'm going to bring in some trees. I want the whole back area to be kind of like a forest, if you will. And I literally want, I'll have these different scenes, but they're cut off at the top. I mean, this is meant to not be like the tops of trees or anything like that. If I wanted something like that, I could, I could do the tall pines and stuff. But what I want is, let me get, I'm in node editing for some reason. There we go. What I want is over here under the shelf where the tops of the trees and stuff are cut off. This is where I want to literally fill in this whole area. And I'll trim off what I don't need. But I kind of like, this forest area to be here. And if we split the view, now where it comes up and everything there, I will kind of, trim that off right here. So I don't have this coming right in, unless I decide to try to do something. I don't want to have to try to like make the top of a tree. Again, I don't want to have to try to model something. I want to be able to use the existing, tools and stuff that I have. And so what I want to do is if I'm going to do that in Vectric VCarve Desktop or Vectric VCarve Pro, I would have to do what's called clipping. So I would have to draw a boundary, and let's say I draw this boundary from here to here down to here. And in the components, I'm going to have different levels. So insert a new level, but on level 1, let's say this tree here, I can have this vector selected and I can turn on clipping. and it will remove everything outside of that rectangle in the 3D. Okay. And what I'd like to see, I've got to think about, I want this to be a whole kind of like a forest area and everything. And I got to think about scale. I got to think about this and that and all, so it doesn't look stupid. And I want to have, the animals and things in there. So what I'd like to see is let's get I'd like to see a bit of, and there's depth, the closer you are to things, the larger they appear. The further you are away from things, the further away they appear and stuff. But even at that, even saying that, I've got to be mindful as to perspective and layout and all that stuff. All right, let's close this tool. Get rid of that rectangle. Now, notice that I brought this tree in here, right? And this set of trees, and that won't show up in the 3D view. It'll show up just kind of like a shadow. That's because it's in level 1, and level 1 is being clipped. Level 1 is only showing what's in this rectangle. So in the components, I need to make sure that I'm in the level that doesn't have clipping applied, where I can see the things that I want to see and stuff. And what I've got to, again, be mindful of, and again, anything outside of my board area is not going to be, seen and stuff. But I've got to kind of think out, if I am in here and stuff, I may be looking at the trunks of trees and the brush and everything. I could be looking here. I could try to, somewhat be, in that, and just kind of fill out what I want to do. Just got to try to fill out what I want to do. And I really want to think about my tree selection and stuff like that as well too. For right now, let me take this one and move it out of the way. I want to it's going to be tough. And I don't have to be so anal about it either. I can just have the tree trunks coming all the way across. I want to have, and again, make sure that you're in the, see my level 1 is bold. Level 2 should be bold when I'm clicking on these models and everything, because I need to have them being brought into level 2. And everything. I don't know. This is what it is like when you don't come in with a plan. These models are, I need to change my resolution. I don't want to, I'll change it later, but they're really pixelated. I like design and make, you know, but sometimes I want more definition. Okay, let's see here. Now, this area here, this model is originally kind of like a river scene and mountains and things. You can use components that that aren't meant to be. This doesn't necessarily have to be water right here. And we have lots of grass and everything. I can feel that filled in and stuff. So it does not have to be water. It could be anything. I can come in and add grass, sticks, all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. And when we are, you know, working with parts and everything, you have to remember thickness and depth and all of that stuff is going to play a big role. We don't want this thing sticking 20 inches off the wall. So when we're looking at our components and everything, they can only have, you know, so much thickness and all. And I've got plenty of room to do lots of things with. And I want this to be a merge. We'll go 0.25. And what I'll end up doing is with the smoothing tool and all, I can start to blend these things together. It looks odd when it's red, but when everything starts coming together, I can, you know, turn this into a field or, you know, whatever. Don't rotate it. Don't rotate it. I should be working in the 3D view or the 2D view. It's a little easier for me. And there's tilt, there's fade, there's all kinds of things. You can stretch components out to get a different look than what, you know, it's supposed to be. It could be, you know, rough or coarse. And in this case, you know, it's the more I stretch it, the larger it gets and the thicker it gets. So I actually want to bring this back down to that 0.25 to soften it up. And there's got to be some type of transition from one, you know, kind of thing to the other. And we've got to make it all kind of make sense and everything. So bear with me. Edit, undo, scale component height. Make sure you're on the grass before you go scaling things. Now there's a log cabin, and that log cabin is kind of be, and just real quick on here, okay, on this area and all, I'm not trying to make grass or anything. I'm just trying to make some kind of texture, but where it's blending in or where it comes into, you know, these areas and stuff here, even if I was just trying to make some kind of shoreline or something, where it's coming into here and all, keep in mind, I can draw a vector to give, it doesn't have to be straight across like this. I'm going to give it an organic look in just a second with clipping, okay? I'm going to draw a vector and get rid of this straight line. But at the same time, I'm also going to add a fade in here, and I'm going to fade this component. See if I can get it to fade from there to there so that it will kind of blend in and everything. It'll blend into that rock shoreline. And then still don't necessarily want this straight line here. So again, this, I can come in, insert a new level, because I'm going to, you know, it's going to be clipped, right? And so let me change this combine mode real quick. This has got to merge with the level below it, so it blends just like, you know, before. But I can now come in and create an organic kind of shape here. I can follow this line somewhat. And then come in with my straight line tool and connect that vector. Come across, up, and connect. Now I can select those two vectors, so this one and that one. Make sure they are joined together into one closed vector. Now this says open, so I need to find the opening. So to find the opening, I go to node editing and I look for the green node. So the green node will show me where my gap is, right? So I can just kind of connect that together. And then what I should see is that it's closed now. And I want to make sure that I'm outside of, let's go into node editing. Let's pull these nodes out. And I'll create some transition with the trees and stuff. We'll kind of get it figured out here in just a minute. But even here, let me take these nodes. I want to make sure that I'm, you know, outside of that boundary a little bit. And then when I come in and apply clipping to that, let's zoom in so you can see what's going to happen here. Component, level 3, clipping, apply. It will remove everything outside of that. So it kind of, you know, I can create, and that's still kind of, I need it to be a little bit more rough. That's too smooth of a line there. So let's undo that. You can make your shoreline however you want it to be, but let's not make it so like a perfect wave. Yeah. Let's All right, one more time. Now we come in here and clipping apply. Oops, got to select the vector first. And, you know, you can create that faux shoreline or whatever it may be, whatever it is that, you know, you're going to, that you want to do. Now that vector, you can still see the vector line here in the 3D view. I'm going to turn that off so it kind of hides it and everything. Now, when I'm, you know, when it comes to the water line or something, I could throw in, let me see what level I'm on first. Make sure that you're not in a level that has clipping on it. So let's insert a new level. And this is where levels come in. You know, you could end up with hundreds of levels depending on what it is you're doing. But let's go back to here, double click, drag this down. Now the rocks, let's do it in here. We want to make sure that whatever it is that we do, I'm just going to make this bigger. And I don't know. No, I'll figure it out. But I got to create a scene or a scenario where it transitions into this. I may have to clip some of this back or something or another. But our pheasant here, and this might even, I might even pull this into where this trunk is this tree. That trunk right there is this tree. I can pull that out and make, you know, try to make the two apply. But the pheasant, pheasant there, turkey, it's a turkey, wild turkey. It needs to have some height to it. So first of all, the trees, they don't need to be as tall as they are. They're going to be brought back to, everything is going to be brought back as far as the background to 3/8. Too many decimal points. Hold on a second. 0.375. And then when I build this up, everything has got to kind of fit for me within a 3/4 inch area max. I'm kind of like setting myself to that. And then my turkey can have some base height of, too many decimal points. For some reason, it's not wanting to move. I'll end up putting some kind of border around to trim things off. Now, so I don't have to add too much height to the turkey all over its body and everything. I could probably, if I gave this instead of, if I went, like 3/16, 1/875, it would probably pull it out enough to where the neck would edit, undo. When you're working with a component, make sure it's the only component you have selected. I had the back selected too. But 1/875. it will probably pull it up just enough to where, you know, it clears that. So I don't, you know, I can kind of sneak up on it. And again, there's going to be a plate rack here. So it naturally cutting off, you know, these could be the tops of the trees up close. Again, I can make it blend into this tree and all, but there's going to be a plate rack here. So it's visually, it's getting cut off, right? So it looks odd like this when there's nothing on it, but there's actually physically going to be plates hanging right here. So these could very well be these trees. You know, the closer you get in perspective, the, you know, larger things appear and all. And again, I could try to get rid of, not get rid of, but I could try to take this. There's already trees that were here that I cut off, right? So I could say, all right, let me turn clipping off. Clipping, remove, to see. Let me get rid of this rock real quick. I'll do something with it in just a minute. But wait for it. But this, where I clipped, it's three, like, you know, it's not a pine, so it doesn't fit. So we will come in and reapply that clipping. But I have, in this same kind of tree layout, I have other options. So I have other, you know, kind of dead trees and everything. Now these are oaks with the branches and all. I think they're oaks. Let me see. Hold on. I'll be able to tell you. Let me throw them right here in the middle for a second. Show only this. All right. They're dead trees. So those wouldn't apply. All right. So my other trees.
What if you just extend the pines all the way across?
I don't know. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't extend them all the way across because they're going to get cut off. But I can give them. I have to fade the. I have to fade the water or the shoreline. All right, so if I come to here, I can take this model. I can go into properties, fade, set. I'll go close instead of way up here. I'll go down here. So from here to here. And what fade does is and I also got to remember I have a rough edge right here. I got to blend all this too. So I can make this work. I just gotta take this. Fade. Stand by just a second. I can put the cabin right here on the corner too also. I can't go too thick. Oh, I need, hold on a second. I'm an idiot. I need this to merge low. It won't merge low. This one will go set it to merge, and then the layer will merge low. So merge and then the level. Low. Nope, can't do that. Well, I might not be able to use that tree scene like I wanted to in here, and I'll just have to extend this. I was really hoping to be able to use that tree scene, but I might not be able to use that scene. I might have to just run this all the way over. Run this. Now on my clipping, that clipping vector that was being used, this will have to node edit, drag that out to here, insert a point. Okay, one more time. So the level 3 with the grass, I have to reapply or update whenever if you change your vector and all, you have to go back and update. And Get out of node editing. The log cabin's just kind of floating around right now, but
Houseboat.
If my plate rack, I might be able to fit the log cabin right under the plate rack. I'll have to definitely move the turkey. All right, so now I got to turn fading off of the log cabin, so or off the trees and everything here, so they don't fade away. So we'll get that turned off, and you know, that'll give me my kind of rock line back here. On my grass and everything, I still have my vector line kind of cutting along that. I can when I'm looking at this shoreline, I can have it follow that. No, actually, it's pretty good. We'll just give it a little bit more meat. And I got to make my cabin stand up above the trees. We'll do that too. So first things first, the grass is I think I actually want to set the grass to add so that it takes on a little bit of the wave and everything that's underneath it. And then do that. And then take the fading back just a bit. So just what I want is to create just a little bit of a ridge right here. Okay, now in the cabin, this will come together here in just a second. I'm going to have the guy fishing off the shore. I'm going to have him fishing in the lake here in just a second. But the cabin, it needs to tilt. It needs to tilt. And thin wedge. So when you click thin wedge is where your first click is. The thick part of the wedge is where your second click is. And I just want a small bit of degree just to bring the cabin up front a bit. Now, where the grass is coming through the door and everything, that I can change with my with the vector here. So if I came in and said, okay, I want to keep the grass area, kind of this rock or texture here, but I want to eliminate this in there. I could fade it down. Or two, I could just draw the vector to where it actually loops into that area. Either or, but let's try the fade first. And when you're doing the fade, come on. Where you click first is what you want to keep. Oh, I already got fade on there and it's going upward. So we can't use fade twice. It's a shame. But that's all right, I'll draw the vector. So I'm going to go into node editing, and here's how I'm going to handle this. On here, I'm going to insert a point. Down here, insert a point, and this I'm going to pull in. Now there's a cabin here, right? But I can't see it. I can't see where I got to pull this vector. That's okay. If I come in and I click, get out of node editing, and I click on the cabin in the 2D view, I can right click on it. I can go to appearance and turn the fading off so that I can, that I can see it and everything. And I can see where my, trim's got to be. So here on this vector, I need to insert a point and basically pull this down just a little bit. Pull this up a little bit. And node editing. Oops. Don't crash the system. Please don't crash. I got to save as soon as I saw that. Node editing. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Now, with that vector redrawn there and everything, I can actually come in here and take out. I could literally come in with these two vectors here and bring them in. Delete this point. Delete that point. Delete that. Basically getting rid of all of this grass because it's inside the log cabin area there. And I can go back into the grass area in the component and update. What that should do is it should remove that grass. Now I went too low down here. You can see that. So insert point. Pull this back up. Right click, clipping, update. Okay. Now the grass, grab the model.
Grass has got to come back down.
It's got to go back out to the left. Hold on a second. And then we'll see what JR is referencing. Let's pull this out a little bit. So it brings it to the edge there. And I really need to outline the bottom of that cabin right there. So hold on a second. Node editing. Okay, let me find my cabin. I'm going to freehand draw my cabin vector. I'm going to use freehand draw. Real quick, close or hide. I'll uncheck the grass for a moment so that it's not in my way. And then I'll freehand draw a vector. I'll just kind of go from here. So I'm going to stay in the confines of I need. All right, let me fix that line because I was all over the place. Delete that point, delete that point, that point. What I was trying to do was stay in the cabin area. Now, with this vector, I should be able to take my scissors, trim here and there, and it should if my line were to overlap. That brown line throws me off. That layer color is brown, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Okay. Now let's go in. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to, in clipping, since I've trimmed it all, I'm going to remove the clipping and then I'm going to reapply it with that new vector. And when I turn the grass back on, for me right now, it's good enough for government work. All right. Okay. So with that, let's add a couple more, and then you guys and girls can kind of get the idea. This might have to be a two-parter, but let's grab homeboy here. Now, he came into a component that is clipped, so we're going to move him out of that. Perspective, he's a little bit further away, so he's not going to be that big. Let's go out like that. Now we're going to get him into the water because his knees are cut off, so we're going to kind of bring him like into the shore a little bit. And he can't be taller than the cabin. He's further away. So let's get him. Kind of there. Now, with him, let's kind of clip here. We want him to, he's kind of where he's, you know, walking and everything in the water, we want kind of like the water treading. We want it kind of, you know, breaking treading all. So first things first, we're going to go into him and we'll give him just a little bit more height. Not much, just a little bit. But where he is wading in, now we might have him step, because he is up to his knees, right? Unless there's a major drop off there. We may have him out a little bit more, just a little bit further. But to kind of break up to where it's just like he's set to a merge. That's good, but he's not merging with the, he's merging, but he's not merging with the layer above it because he's on his own layer. the level, not layer, level needs to be set to merge so it, you know, he maintains his shape. Okay. And then the, this is where the height comes in, and all base height. So we'll build him up just a little bit. And then we'll tilt him. First click is the thin part of the wedge. Second click is the thicker part of the wedge. And then he just needs a small degree of tilt just to get, not a whole lot, just enough to get him past the tree height and things. Now, again, once again, talking back here where the knees are in the water, we're going to use clouds for this. So in the components and everything here, we're not going to use rocks. We're going to use the clouds. Let me find the clouds. Not driftwood, the clouds right here. And we're going to, there's going to be two separate. So we'll use that one. I might use these two. We'll stack them on top of each other. Now, what this is going to represent, they're clouds. Yes, that's true. But what we're representing is that he's treading water, you know, that he's creating a little bit of a wake where he is combining and everything. So what we're going to do is give it just a little bit of height. And we need to separate. Got to get my other cloud in here. Wait for it. It's a little rough. This is where smoothing, you know, and being able to like use a smoothing brush and sculpting. Unfortunately, I don't think VCarve Pro has sculpting. The sculpting brush, it might. I don't think so though. I need to get this. All right, now currently right now, the height of the clouds is too thick, right? So we don't want it to look like, you know, he's in, you know, sinking in quicksand. We just, all we're trying to do is give it the appearance of the water breaking. And right now the ripple of the cloud is too thick. So if we go into the component and everything, we're gonna bring it down 2 decimal points. It's just got to just be right at the surface of the water. just a little under. Let me get this. And let me get the other one because that's the one that's really standing out. We just want a little ripple in the water. The green area is showing what part of the model is covered by the other model in things. And all we're trying to do is just kind of give a reference of, you know, the water breaking and everything. And we can, you know, when we apply smoothing over everything, it may, you know, it may look more natural and stuff, but in the meantime, that'll be fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 10:25. We've been at this for 2 hours and 51 minutes. You're welcome, Keith, for all the project files, for sure. But what I need to do is I need to hit save. File save as. And this is going to be my over the sink rack. Now, I am using solid wood. I'm not using plywood for any of this. It is going to be made of solid wood. And my kitchen is oak. And it's kind of, it's not really farmhouse, but that's the theme that I'm kind of shooting for. On some of the things that I make for the kitchen and stuff, you know, just kind of farmhouse themed. I will be using oak. Believe it or not, my initial thought was kind of like a select pine and all, but I want oak because of the cabinets. I want it somewhat to kind of have somewhat of a match. I don't want to be too odd man out, but I don't, just to give you an insight on me, I don't carve signs or I don't carve in oak, period. I hate carving in oak because it's too open pore grain, and a lot of the finer details on most of the carvings I do and everything get lost in that open grain. And, you know, when when you stand off and you're looking at something, you're like, what the hell is it supposed to be? And you got to really get up on it to see what it's supposed to be and everything. I with a passion, I hate carving in oak. I'll build furniture in oak. It's wonderful for building furniture, but it's shit to carve in my opinion. But my cabinets are oak. So I got to I'll figure that out, but I'm hoping that too much detail doesn't get lost in it. But again, if it does, it does. We'll see. I will be glazing this. So in the deeper areas, it'll get a glaze coat. So it'll get clear coated, and then it'll get glazed to give a little bit of aging to it, but also so it'll darken those creases and crevices and things like that, so that they will stand out some. So the detail, I'll try to get the detail to stand as much as possible. Now, as far as glazing, I'm not an expert by any means of glazing and everything. I use different combinations of a lot of things, but there is a product. Oh, shoot. In our next class, I'll show you the product cans and everything, but there's a product. It's a spray. And you spray it on, let it sit for just a moment. It's like a stain, but not really. You spray it on, let it sit for a moment, and then you wipe it off, and it creates an amazing glaze. It really just it stays down in those creases and everything, and it comes in different, I've got it in dark brown, which is what I'll most likely use, the dark brown on that, but there's different tones and different colors and everything, and it's Touch Up Solutions is the brand. I'll verify that and I'll confirm that next week and stuff, but this whole thing in all the little crevices and stuff, and where it doesn't look so new and shiny, but also to bring out some of the detail, especially in that oak. I'll be adding kind of a glaze, kind of just to highlight those, like there's some, to give it some depth, because there's not going to be a whole lot of depth to it and everything. But I don't want to just throw models in here just to throw models in here, and just, throw parts just to throw parts and stuff. I will attempt to try to put things in that makes sense and everything. There's really not a whole lot right now that makes sense. Like you wouldn't have it, if there's a human fishing online, you wouldn't have an elk or a deer or anything standing right behind them or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I got to kind of pick my battles and stuff, but this is the direction that it would go. And again, at the same time, let's go back to the 2D view and understand that literally all of this right here is going to be gone. So if I were to take my rectangle and take this here, and I go into that lake scene. Now that lake scene is already on a level. I do not know if clipping is applied. I don't think so. But let's apply that. Yeah, don't be an idiot. Let's remove that. The vector, guys and girls, is what you want to keep, not what you want to remove. So the when we this boundary vector right here is what I want to keep. Make sure there's nothing else selected but that. This that's kind of the end of it anyway. This panel is going to get cut off right there. So yeah, so this boundary vector is what I want to keep. So right click, apply, and what we should, come on now, come on. Let's try it again. Right click, apply. There we go. All right, so that upper part, that that's going to be where the plate rack is. There's going to be, I'll have to draw this out to where the dado and the groove goes here on the right. Because that part of the material is going to be gone too. So that is node editing, or not node editing, but draw a rectangle from here. Come up to there. All the way up. It's got to be 3/4 of an inch wide. And then this boundary needs to be connected to that. So trim that. And again, that plays no role. That's just a vector there to kind of show me where that shelf is. Actually, it does play a role because I'm an idiot. I need to draw from here to here. It needs to be 3/4 of an inch tall. Take the scissors, trim that and that. Now, when I select this vector here and I go back into that component, I can update it. First of all, make sure the vector is closed, a closed vector. It is. So I can't update it because the vector is no longer there. So I need to remove the clipping function and then reapply it. So what that should do is that should clear out that area and everything. Where that side panel is the shelf. Now the rack panel and all is going to go here. So there's nothing there. And this right here is the edge of where you see this line at and everything. That's the edge of the panel. There's nothing there. It's all the outside edge. So, and then the shelf is up here at the top of this, block area. So it's not even in the model. So this is the only three things that were interfering with that. And so that's what will give them that mural. It'll give the appearance that it's going behind, around the shelves and stuff, and all. And so, the fisherman may not be there. I might have a deer, or something. But again, the log cabin is kind of dictating things now because it's a house. So if I do put, something, and I can't have a deer standing as tall as the cabin and all. And because of the height, I can't make the cabin really large. So, I've got to really play with this to see, what I want to do. And it may require me going back to design and make and buying, something else that, more applicable. But I've got I've got the lake scene, and I've got the deer wildlife scene, I got the duck scene, and I got the pheasant hunt. So I've got 4 different scenes. I should be able to pull something out of that fairly, easily. Now, of course, we wouldn't have ducks swimming with a fisherman right nearby and all that stuff. And they're way too big. They're almost as big as the cabin. So things like that, I got to play around with that. And we can't spend that kind of time in one go. It's already, we're already a few hours in. But I wanted to at least kind of show you, this is literally I literally said today, I was looking at the kitchen and I thought, man, that wall is just, believe it or not, I didn't do it, but there's utensils and stuff hanging on the wall in the, screws. I didn't do it, I swear. But, there's just hanging there. There's a strainer. There's all kinds of, it's just a bunch of junk hanging on the wall, like 4, 5, 6 different pieces hanging on the wall behind the sink. And every time I go to wash dishes or every time I look at it, it's like, God, this looks like crap here. I got these nice cabinets, and then I have this area that's an eyesore. So literally today I thought, you know what? I've got a plate rack. I started looking at pictures of plate racks and things and started putting ideas together. So I got a plate rack. I measured the area. The area I have is 39 and 9/16 by 35.5 inches tall. That's the opening. Of that, there's a sink spout that can rotate left or right, so I can't really interfere with that. My plate racks, I do want those plates there, so those kind of play a role. Everything comes out 12 inches on that and then up. So you're literally kind of watching the process. This is just like today, just a few hours ago, going, man, I want to build something here. And all of this stuff, none of this really requires CNC, but it's going to be easy for me to take my panels and do CNC with it, especially on the, these dados and grooves and all. Of course, there's nothing's final. I've got to take it off the CNC and I've got to use some chisel work to square up the corners, because I am absolutely not going to use dog bone fillets and things like that. I'm going to clean up and square up my, corners and things, but I can use the CNC if I wanted to do these parts. But really, I can do them quicker on my table saw and on my router table. All my dados and grooves and everything. I've got, I can set up stops for the stop dados and everything. On the CNC, I will make the plate rack parts, absolutely. But the main attraction to this is going to be this scene, whatever it is. I'd like to be able to look at something really just neat, And if I don't like it, I can take it down and carve something different one day, right? It's just that simple. This is going to be a wall unit that kind of, fits in. So the main carving, the main all CNC stuff is going to really be the 2 plate rack shelves and the mural, whatever it ends up being. The rest of this stuff literally is table saw work. I mean, big glue ups. I got to glue up panels. It's all solid wood. I'm not using plywood. I'm not going to go plywood with edge banding or anything like that. And somebody might say, why not? Why wouldn't you? One is I'd like to, because of the farmhouse thing, I'm seriously debating on beating the hell out of the wood a little bit and give it a distressed kind of, nail holes and, just roughing it up a little bit just to give it a little distress to it. I don't know yet. But I want that kind of rustic farmhouse look. But at the same time, I also want it to fit with my cabinets. So that is where we're at. That's kind of my process. That's what I'm doing. And this is something that I'm going to be making, this weekend or whatever, to get it done, because it's not a difficult project at all. The carving, one, if you have a smaller CNC and you can't do a carving, 24 by 40, then, the carving would have to, if you were doing something similar to that, you might have to do it in 2 different panels and then make it in a way that when it's seen together, that the seam, somewhat blends or disappears or something. Now, I will say something, just so you know, when we as humans look at things, we scan left to right because we read left to right, we look left to right and everything. So horizontal lines will pick up seams and horizontal seams and everything super quick. But angle them slightly or, have them in a different orientation, then we'll look at the scene more so than the seams, right? So I could be creative with, if I had to do this in 2 separate parts, I could be very creative in how these things come together so that it virtually disappears. I mean, it's a 2-sided project that I would, have to set up and stuff, but I could literally come in here and have a seam coming, it could follow the tree line and around or something. And I could have the parts when they come together that I could, with the CNC, I could run a rabbet down the edge on the backside, flip the other panel over, carve it on the backside. So when they come together, they overlap, like a half lap, but in a pattern and a way that is natural. So that when, nice little sanding and, things like that, it just disappears in the scene itself, right? You could really be creative in that aspect and stuff to really take it away. If I, because we have the fishermen and we have the trees and all, if I have a panel that's the top half and a panel that's bottom half and I put them here, then I'm always going to see that seam. And it just kills it. It's like, why'd I waste that time? So being creative with a seam. I'm fortunate enough that I can do the whole thing on one in one panel. I just got to do the glue up of it. But if you didn't, it could absolutely be creative in how this thing comes together to where it just virtually just disappears. That seam could literally come along the tree lines in some way and then right down the edge. It could cut, not the tree lines, or I'm sorry, I'm trying to break it in half for you. It could come down the mountain peak and then down the side of the cabin here, and this be one panel, this be the other. But when they come together, there's a little bit of an overlap, so everything blends nicely. You could really work that out and stuff. It's just drawing the vectors and doing the pocket cuts and all that stuff. All right. What do I have for questions? Anything? Nobody? I think everybody's just like tired. Thanks for the fall theme. Yep, we already said that. Awesome. Brooks Martin, thanks again for the super chat. That $10 is helpful. Trust me. Get me some $3 ice cream sandwiches for a snack. I'm getting a little. I'm eating junk food too much. All right. So I'm going to save my work. I'll continue on it a little bit more, and we will revisit this next week. Now, we'll make it something different next week, but we will revisit this because I want to show you the conclusion and, show you what I did to, as far as what I came up with the 3D scene. I am going to strictly try to restrict myself to not doing anything that I have Aspire, but I want to try to, make it something that anybody in Desktop and Pro could do. And I'm strictly going to kind of stay with what I have available to me in my purchased clip art. So we'll see how that all pans out and stuff. But yeah.
Want to mention tomorrow night in November?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm going to switch back over. So let me come back to everybody. Let's go here. Hello. And let me turn off. Give me just 1 second here. Hey, there's double me. Hold on a second. Over here. So what JR is talking about, let me bring the guys back up real quick. Wake up, everybody. I think Ronnie left us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got tired of me. But just kidding, Ronnie. But what JR is talking about is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, either on Spindle TV channel or Digital Woodcarver channel. Burl Tischer and I are going to be announcing the open house that we're having. It's 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're having an open house November 7th through 9th. We're going to have Woodmiser there, True Track, Spirocraft, RJB Wood Turner, Woodpecker couldn't make it, but they sent like $500 worth of product that we're giving away as door prizes. But Burl will go over all this. We have some lumber companies coming and everything. So number one, if you're in the area and you can make it out to Martinsville, Indiana, November 7th through 9th, come on out, because the 7th, there's still openings available for trainings, one-on-one, hour-and-a-half long trainings. Sorry about that. Friday from 8 to 12, I'm teaching a 4-hour intermediate Vectric class and CNC class. We're going to be actually, on the CNC machines and talking about them. And then Friday afternoon from 12 to 5 is the open house. It's free to attend. And then Saturday from 8 to 4. And all of the guys and girls and Woodmeister and all, they're going to be out demonstrating their machines. They're going to have them on board. We're going to have some other machines and stuff. So if you can make it, come on out. But Burl and I are going to be talking about it and giving you some more detailed information tomorrow at 7. Check us out either on Digital Woodcarver YouTube channel or Spindle TV. You'll be able to watch that video. It's streaming through both and all that. So, yeah, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into the kitchen. I'm going to kind of think about if I want to add some hanging elements, for hanging mugs and stuff like that, and things to that, that rack build. The rack build is pretty straightforward. It's just going to be the 3D carving. That mural is going to be the, the most intricate part. It's going to take a long time to carve, most likely, because it's pretty big, 40 by 24. It's a pretty decent size. But I'll keep you guys updated on what I come up with, because it's got to make sense. And plus, I have to look at it for the rest of my life, right? So I want to, unless I change it up, but I want it to make, good and all. But hopefully you kind of get the idea. But things like that, it's just tonight's class more than anything is to show a little bit of stuff, but also just to show, sometimes you have to come up with something, you something hits your mind, or you need to make something, a product or whatever, and you got to lay it out, think it out, talk it out. SketchUp for me is by far the best way for me to visualize something 3D. If I'm building furniture, cabinetry, anything. When I'm laying out my shop with where I'm going to put my tools, my table saw, where it's going to go, where my CNC is going to go, where my bandsaw is going to go, I draw it out in SketchUp. I lay out my shop and everything. When I'm doing electrical, I use SketchUp, when I figure out where my lighting is going to go and stuff like that. SketchUp is phenomenal, and it's free. It's nowadays you have to pay for it and all that. There are some free versions, but they're limited. But version 8, old school, really no limitations as far as, the general drawing and stuff. There's some new, just like with having version 9 of Vectric versus version 12, right? There's new things in the later stuff, but also with that comes money. And so the Jay's Custom Creations, jayscustomcreations.com. Check out his SketchUp page. He's got a whole tutorial of videos for free and a free download. So check it out if you want to get into it. All right, JR, you got anything to add?
Any
Buddy
chance
Rowe?
you can get black box for the open house?
We are going to have black box there, and we'll have the Storm there on display and things like that. As far as if Xavier or Bobby Joe are coming up, I'm not sure if they're coming up, but they did send a package of things up for us to have at the show. I'm just not sure they could make it and all, but we will. But we will have a black box vacuum there, and we'll be showing some, what it does. It'll be connected to one of our, other CNC machines. So probably the 4x4 or 5x10, one of the two. So we'll have it connected to a section of that.
Any news on the conversational?
No. So here's the deal with that. So now the conversational cam, I had a talk with Vectric at the show, and when I say the show, it was IWF, and I told them, hey, I'm getting ready to introduce a company that does conversational cam machining and Kipware. And I really think you guys are missing the boat. You should really do some kind of conversational cam feature. And when they got to looking at it and everything, they're like, that's just a simple gadget. We can make that. And so there's actually discussions, and I need to follow up with our OEM manager and everything to see if how far those discussions got, because they were real hyped up. They have never heard of conversational cam. But when I introduced them to it, showed them what Kipware was and how conversational cam, how it functions and what doors it would open for them for, machine factory floors and stuff like that. They were intrigued. So Vectric was. So I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping that Vectric will actually, there'll be a gadget that comes out that'll be a conversational cam gadget. But in the meantime, Kipware, KIPWARE.com, conversational cam. They are very affordable, and the software, from what I got to when I got to work with it and stuff, is great. You can either purchase directly for them, or you can go through us and stuff, because we did work out an arrangement with being able to sell their product and everything. It's nothing official on the website yet and everything, because I kind of backed off for a moment, because when Vectric said, oh, we can do this very easily as a gadget, I stepped back for a second because I wanted to see what Vectric came out with. And if it's part of Vectric and part of the ecosystem, is it going to be a free gadget? Is it a paid add-on? Right? If so, it couldn't be too much. It can't be too expensive. So how does it compare? And that kind of thing. So I kind of stepped back a moment. But Kipware is great. It is a good software. It exactly what you would expect or want from a conversational cam. And Ken, the gentleman who owns Kipware, Ken, yep, very nice guy. Very, 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 very good guy. All right, so that's that, JR. That's where we are with that. So Kipware.com, if you wanted to jump into that but also keep in mind in the future that Vectric might be coming in. So did we really go 3 hours and 23 minutes, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for hanging out with me. I don't think anybody's watching. I think they're all gone to bed. But all right. Well, any other questions? I don't see any in the chat. So with that, JR, and get I think before we started, JR, you asked if you need to run anything by me, just get with me.
Okay.
Anytime. And David, thank you again. David hung out. David stuck with us. Thanks, Brooks. Again, thanks for the super chat and everything. But everybody, thanks for hanging out and watching. JR, take it easy. Y'all have a great evening.
Talk to you later.
See you, man.